Real News Live, where the realest are real. So let's go ahead and jump right into this, folks. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that comment, subscribe when I'm done, and also share this video. Let's go ahead and jump into the easy stuff first, all right? So before we jump into the Jimmy Dore dunking on all his critics, right? We're going to jump into this California recall results. I'm going to pull up some information here from the New York Times, so take this with a grain of salt. But this is what they have for their California recall election results. Let me see here. We're going to refresh this page because I had it up for a little bit. All right, so Gavin Newsom will keep his position. He will keep his job. So let's go ahead and get that out the way right now. So we have updated as of 12:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 5,840,283 votes for no for the California recall. That's 63.9%. For the yeses, we have 3,297,145 coming in at 36.1%. This is with 70% of the votes tallied up. So this is 70% reported so far as of now. Let's see here. It gives you the map. And it pretty much goes like along the coastal lines is where Gavin Newsom basically won. A lot of people voted no, and like Fresno, Bakersfield area, you know, all the inland areas of California is where people were voting where most people were voting yes. So it gives you a breakdown by county here. I think, yeah, county. Let me see. Let's just, for instance, here, Kern County, 58% say yes, 42% say no. So let's, so Kern County there. Okay, looks like Kern County. Yeah, they were actually for the recall. Let me see here. Let's get to San Diego County. That's what I want to figure out. Let me see. Where's San Diego County? Let's see. Sacramento, 36 for yes and 64% for no. Let me see here. That was with 55% reporting. The first one was Kern County at 42% reporting. Let me see. San Diego, here we go. This is my city. This is, well, my county. 41% for yes. Wow. Wow. 41% for yes. And what was it? Just had it. There we go. 59% for no. Wow. So most people in San Diego County voted no. This is at 70% reporting. Los Angeles County, we're at 29% yes and 71% no. So along the coastal lines, Gavin Newsom is basically, that's where he got a lot of his support from. So we'll go ahead and continue there. If you want to find this information, again, this is the NewYorkTimes.com. If you guys want to see it for yourselves, to see your individual county and see how your county did, basically, or how they voted. One more, for instance, San Francisco, 13% said yes, 87% said no for San Francisco. 87%. Wow. This is with 76% reporting. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let me see. All right. So if Newsom is recalled, who should replace him as governor? We have Larry Elder, who basically dominated the whole map of California. He's a Republican coming in at 2,373,551 votes. He came in with 46.9% of the vote. This is with 70% reporting, of course. Second place goes to my man Kevin Paffrath, who ran as a Democrat, or as he described himself, a JFK-style Democrat, or a moderate or centrist Democrat, which I never really appreciated that. But he came in with 497,376 votes at 9.8%. Right under him at 8.6% came in Kevin Falconer, former mayor of San Diego City, San Diego, California. Kevin Falconer is a Republican, and he came in with 436,070 votes. So total reported, this is with every other candidate who was involved, came in at 5,057,345 votes. So like I said, there is a plethora of other candidates running for this California recall. I was very biased, and I was for Kevin Paffrath because I thought he had the best ideas, and he was outside of the political system. The only reason he ran as a Democrat was because he knew that that's the only way he can get anything accomplished. And he kind of describes himself as a moderate Democrat, centrist Democrat. He says his ideas are centrist, but Okay, I mean, it all goes in how you describe yourself. You know, he did a lot of talking about the far left and the far right and how he's just going to play the middle. And you know, I didn't really appreciate that, but it's like it's all in how you describe what is far left. What is a far left policy? You know, what is a far right policy? Because in his mind, I think he thinks Gavin Newsom was far left. So I don't really understand that, but yeah, that's what we have here, folks. There's a lot of names involved. I'll go through it real quickly since we're on a live. Larry Elder, and this is in order of their votes. So Larry Elder, number one. Kevin Paffrath, number two. Kevin Falconer, Brandon Ross, John Cox, Kevin Kiley, Jacqueline McGowan, Joel Ventresca, Daniel Watts, Holly Bade, Patrick Kilpatrick, Patrick Kilpatrick, huh? Armando Perez Serrato, Caitlyn Jenner was also running. I forgot about Caitlyn Jenner. Republican came in at 55,797 votes at 1.1%. For those of you who are interested in those numbers for Caitlyn Jenner, John Drake, Dan Kapelovitz, Jeff Hewitt, Ted Gaines, Just Angeline, David Moore, Doug Osei, Michael Loebs, Anthony Tremino, Heather Collins, Major Singh, Denver Stoner, David Lozano, Stephen Lodge, Sam Gallucci, Jenny Ray LaRue, David Bramante, Diego Martinez, Sarah Stevens, Robert Newman, Dennis Richter, Dennis Lucy, Daniel Mercury, James Hannick, Chauncey Killens, Leo Zaki, Kevin Hall, David Hilberg, Aranda Furin, Adam Papagon, Nicholas Wildstar, Jeremy Marciniak, and Joe Simon. All right. Joe Simon being the bottom of the barrel, the one who's last on the list as a Republican, and he came in with 1,733 votes, less than 0.1% of the vote. So again, a plethora of candidates for this for this California recall, and I appreciate you guys liking the video. I see I got 8 people watching, 8 people like, so I really do appreciate the support. So again, a bunch of people were running against Gavin Newsom, but Gavin Newsom was able to hold on to his job, and the power of the Democratic establishment, the power of his connections, his elite connections, you know, the power of just his name alone, I guess, and the power of his fundraising, quite frankly, was able to pull him through. So, like I said before, Gavin is still the guy for California. A lot of people actually never really saw a problem with Gavin Newsom, and me in particular, I didn't so much see a direct problem with Gavin Newsom. I know he did a lot of signing of a lot of things when he first came in office. It was like he was hitting the news for every single bill he was signing and every new thing that he was doing. It seemed like he was getting a lot of progressive things done, some of which, you know, a lot of people would disagree with. But it seemed like they tried to paint this whole thing as more of like a Republican recall. And as you can see, there was, you know, a few Democrats running, one of which was Kevin Paffrath, and he came in with what was it? Let me see one more time here. Oh, I'm in the wrong chart. All right. Kevin Paffrath came in with 9.8% of the vote. So he came in second place to Larry Elder. Larry Elder dominated. You know, funny enough, Kevin Paffrath said on an interview that he thought that Larry Elder might possibly have been a plant. You know, because he kind of came into the race and stole the thunder, right? He actually described him as a gift to Gavin Newsom. So, you know, maybe that worked out in his favor. You know, he was able to frame this as a Republican recall, and a lot of people, you know, fell for it. A lot of my heroes in acting, Hollywood, like John Leguizamo, Michael Rappaport, D.L. Hughley, a lot of these big names I've noticed, and there's always the same people I see on Instagram or, you know, social media that really cape for the corporate Democrats. And it's like anything that the corporate Democrats put out, these 3 individuals will repeat. And they all hate Donald Trump and they all hate Republicans. You know, it's just the same thing. And it sucks because John Leguizamo is like probably my most favorite actor or one of my most favorite actors. But when it comes to politics and policies, he's just another corporate shill, you know, another Democratic shill or Democrat shill. So let's see here. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have for the recall, the California recall. Gavin Newsom will keep his job. So we'll go ahead and move on from this one right here. And let's see. Let me see here. All right. So let's get into the good stuff here. Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, well-renowned, well-respected Jimmy Dore, dunked on his haters and his critics. Yesterday, he put out a video called Explosive Truth About Vaccines and COVID with inventor of mRNA vaccine technology, Robert Malone. Now, this video got 23,000 likes, 648 haters disliked the video. So far, since yesterday, it's garnered 207,068 views. All right, so almost 250,000 views here for this video that he just posted yesterday. All right. And honestly, this video is 1 hour and 14 minutes long, 55 seconds, and I don't have the battery power or the juice to go through this whole interview that he did with Dr. Robert Malone. But I think I wrote down some, well, not really notes. I wrote down some time frames or some time spans. I'll list them all for you guys. So if you guys actually want to go to the video and go to these specific times for yourself so you can hear what he has to say and kind of go through it yourself, you can. The first one I started off, the video starts off with him describing what mRNA vaccines are, all right, and how it works. Basically, it creates a protein in you that helps to fight the virus. But I'm not going to get into all that. I'll let him explain, the finer details of that for himself. But the timestamps that I wrote down start at 7 minutes and 31 seconds to 19 minutes and 12 seconds. Fire. I'm not gonna lie, folks. This is like confirmation bias porn for me. I am very upfront about that. I am super upfront about that. But this guy, I looked him up. He's a real guy. He's a real virologist. He is the quote unquote inventor of mRNA vaccines. And this guy came on a Jimmy Dore show to explain some things. So let me continue here. The next timestamp is from 36 minutes and 2 seconds. I just put a dash right next to it because you can kind of go from there all the way to 53 minutes and 33 seconds. But if you wanted to start fresh, you can go from 53 minutes and 33 seconds to 55. Okay, this is just timestamps that I wrote down for my mental. Okay, you don't have to follow this. The whole interview is fire. Again, this is confirmation bias porn for me, because everything that this doctor says, everything that Mr. Robert Malone says, it's like, yeah, duh, I know, right? Like, some of it I didn't know, some of it I did know, but the stuff that I did know was like, yeah, of course that makes sense. Of course it makes sense. And this guy, he proves it. He proves it. Not to mention Jimmy Dore slams his critics about the ivermectin thing, about how everyone was labeling it as horse paste or only made for horses, or trying to make it seem as though that it's only specifically made for horses, when it's been proven to, like Jimmy Dore has pointed out, and I double checked, it's actually a part of the WHO list of most important drugs. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but it's not just for horses. They make it for humans. And as Mr. Robert Malone points out, it's actually very safe and effective if used appropriately, meaning the correct dosage. So let me go ahead and stop blabbering here, okay? Let me go ahead and jump into this video. Again, I'm only gonna play these 3 timestamps, and hopefully my phone and time allows me to get through it all. So before I begin, go ahead and hit that like button if you didn't already, comment, subscribe, share this video, and let's go ahead and jump right into this, folks. So we'll go ahead and start from, 7:31, and we'll go to 1912. Hopefully you guys are interested in this. I will interject when I feel it's appropriate, but for the most part, I just want to let him speak, because this whole interview was fire, but these are the important parts that I really wanted to share with you guys. So here we go.
Let me just go ahead, and I'm going to jump ahead and just ask you a question. What are the bioethics of the current campaign to get the vaccine in everyone's arm?
Personally, I find this public position confusing. It's not consistent with my training and my understanding of the proper practice of medicine and the proper practice of regulatory oversight. These vaccines are known. The government acknowledges that there are risks associated with these vaccines. This was not the case 6 to 9 months ago. So now they've taken the position, they acknowledge there are risks, and the risks that they formally acknowledge in the licensure package for the BioNTech product are incomplete. There are known in the literature numerous other risks, and the FDA in that licensure package acknowledges that there are other risks that remain uncharacterized, risks such as birth defects, the extent of which the cardiac risks manifest, etc. In addition, there are many other risks such as reactivation of latent viruses. We know this as shingles, also Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, and other viruses that can be triggered by vaccination, may also be triggered by the infection. So there is a portfolio of risks, only some of which are understood to any significant degree, many of which are known to exist, but they're not well characterized yet, even after all these many months of dosing of these experimental products.
Wow. So he said, again, the creator of mRNA vaccines said there's a portfolio of risks associated with these experimental vaccines, these experimental products. Again, confirmation bias porn, right? Like I was saying this whole time, it's an experiment. Like I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the only person saying it, but it's a big experiment. And here we have this guy saying it. It's an experiment. We're still gathering data from this. Like, let me continue here. Let me continue.
In my opinion, based on both...
Full disclosure, this guy, Dr. Robert Malone, has been criticized in the media. He has been criticized, I guess, by other, mostly people that write articles, but I guess maybe other doctors as well, about his information. And they go on to give a disclaimer for this video on the Jimmy Dore Show. They give a disclaimer that says the views shared in this video regarding COVID vaccines may conflict with health authorities. So just putting that out there, folks. I'm putting full disclosure. But he really is who he says he is. And I think that we should listen to him, in addition to other voices as well. You know, that's how you gather more information. All right, so here we go.
Decades of practice and international consensus as embodied in the Nuremberg trials and the Helsinki Accord and the Belmont Report here in the United States, and captured in the Code of Federal Regulations, that's to say federal case law, as is what's commonly known as the common rule. There are well-established practices which must be followed for experimental products, and in general need to be followed for all medical procedures, such as when you go and have a surgery. You look like you're about in the same age bracket, more or less, as I am, and you may have experienced a colonoscopy or other practices, and if so, you'll recall when you had those that the surgeon came in and described, or whoever was going to perform the procedure, described the risks, and asked you if you willingly accepted those risks. Mm-hmm. That's typical medical practice. Mm-hmm. That's how we should perform medicine. We need to inform you of the risks in a full sense for a procedure or a medical product. Those have to be expressed in common language so that you can understand them. I can't hide those risks using fancy medical language. Mm-hmm. And you have to willingly accept those risks, whether it's an experimental product or a therapeutic or product that has already been approved. So 3 key things: full and complete disclosure of risks, as best as they're known at that time. The risks have to be communicated to you in language that you can understand. And you have the right and obligation to willingly accept those risks. In my opinion, the rights of the collective do not outweigh the rights of the individual.
The rights of the collective do not outweigh the rights of the individual. From Mr. Robert Malone, Dr. Robert Malone here.
And that is explicitly true with medical practice. Now, there are those in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others where you've seen op-eds. And for instance, Atlantic Monthly, my journal that I'm not very happy with right now because of their attacking me. But you've seen these articles in the headlines of the Toronto Star, basically saying that it's acceptable to withhold medical care from those who have not taken vaccine.
What?
I strongly object to this, okay?
Wow.
So there is a logic that if you don't accept vaccine, you really don't deserve to be treated on the same basis as somebody who did. If you
Experimental vaccine. If you don't accept treatment for this experimental vaccine, they want to deny you medical care.
Into the hospital, okay? And that is a slippery slope.
Whew.
We go from there. So what's the next thing? Well,
You
let's
should see
see.
Jimmy's face right now.
The people that are at highest risk are obese. Well, obesity is something that you could control. That's your fault. You had too many McFries and too much sugary Coca-Cola. And so it's your fault that you're obese and at high risk for COVID. So maybe we shouldn't treat you. Maybe we shouldn't treat you if you smoked. It goes on and on and on. How deep is that hole?
We already know that you get charged more for these things when you get like life insurance and stuff. They charge you more money if you're a smoker or if you have like some kind of condition or something like that. That's so I wouldn't, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Again, that's exactly the reason why I say on the show where the real is surreal. Because that's how it feels. It's just everything is surreal.
I strongly object to that kind of logic, but it's being promoted both across the United States in high-profile, papers of record, and in Canada, across Canada, like the Toronto Star. So you ask about the ethics. I strongly object to mandatory vaccination for multiple reasons. I believe it's not ethical, and it's also not good medical practice from the standpoint of a virologist and vaccinologist. What we're doing by excessively using vaccine inappropriately for people who don't really need it is that we're driving the virus to be able to escape through evolutionary selection the benefits of the vaccine. Now, we all understand how this works intuitively because most of us are aware that the agricultural practice in feedlots and other places of medicating or chicken houses, of medicating poultry and livestock indiscriminately with antibiotics leads to antibiotic-resistant superbugs that then turn around and attack us, okay? It's the same basic logic. Overuse of vaccines will drive the development of viruses that are able to evade vaccination. Now, who cares? Because we know that natural infection provides broader, longer lasting, and up to 20-fold more effective immune response in terms of preventing reinfection than vaccine does. So if the vaccine is no longer effective, why should I care? Because I'll just get natural infection and that'll be better in the end anyhow. The answer is that we do have people in our population that are at high risk. The risk if you catch this virus and you're elderly and have significant other comorbidities like pre-existing heart conditions, obesity, or other characteristics, your risk is quite high.
So a lot of you guys know, unfortunately, my grandmother passed away earlier this year, January 2nd of 2021, due to COVID-19. And she, she was getting to a point where she was gaining, a little too much weight, and she had COPD, which, is a breathing disorder. It's, I believe, a respiratory illness, and it's it's fatal. I really wasn't, I guess, conscious of that when I first heard that she had COPD. We always think our grandparents, our parents, are gonna live forever. You know what I'm saying? So it really didn't hit me until after the fact. And she ended up getting COVID-19, not from me, not from my mother, but somebody else that actually came to the house where she was staying and visited her. And it sucks because it's like I we tried so hard to stay away from her. In some instances, I was really concerned about that, and she just caught it from somebody else. And it sucks, but she had COPD, so she had another ailment that it sped up her timeline. Unfortunately, she fit that category. You know, but let's continue here.
So it can range up to 50% probability of death depending on your pre-existing conditions. And the people that will suffer from this naive, inappropriate policy of global universal forced vaccination.
Naive and inappropriate.
When the potent virus escape mutants develop, is going to be those people that are at high risk, the people that most need vaccine. So what we're risk doing is destroying the one really effective weapon that we have. It's already happening. The effectiveness of the vaccine is dropping quite rapidly because of the evolution of the virus to escape it. This is one of the lessons coming out of Israel and the UK.
That's why we need booster shots.
Is that high levels of vaccination are associated with escape mutants. Those escape mutants are able to infect even the vaccinated. Mm-hmm. The vaccinated do shed virus and replicate virus at levels at least that of those that are unvaccinated and maybe higher.
At least.
They still do get disease, although maybe less disease. And in some ways that might be worse because that means the vaccinated that do have breakthrough infections are walking around feeling relatively healthy and yet producing and shedding just as much virus as the people that have received vaccine.
Your vaccination, basically what I'm hearing from the doctor is he's saying your vaccination is a false sense of security because you think that because you're vaccinated, you're all good. But in actuality, you probably have just as much of the virus in you that you could be spreading just as much as somebody who's not vaccinated. And this is not an argument against vaccines in general, but this is just a point that he's making is that even if you do get this vaccine, it's not that effective to the point where we need to be mandating this ineffective, intrusive vaccine. Let me continue here. Because I'll go off on rantings and tangents.
And so we have a word for that. We call it super spreaders.
Super spreaders.
So this is just the whole policy.
Because you don't know you're spreading it. You out in the event, you having big parties, you bunch of around a bunch of people not wearing a mask, and you're saying, well, I've been vaccinated. I remember this is what the sentiment was when the vaccines first came out and people started getting them, was like, I'm vaccinated, I'm good, I'm vaccinated. Apparently not so much.
Is poorly thought out, and so poorly thought out that you're left with wondering, are these people just not very aware and experienced? Is this incompetence? Or is this the consequence of the pressure of the pharmaceutical industry on the people making decisions? And I'm not those people. I can't get in their heads. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
But there are a lot of signs that we're seeing what the term is regulatory capture. That really doesn't even cover what we're talking about. Let's say undue influence of the pharmaceutical industry on the entire public health enterprise decision-making process. because you either are left saying these people are grossly incompetent or their decisions are being inappropriately influenced. It's hard for me to come up with other explanations.
Wow. This is coming from the mRNA vaccine, the mRNA vaccine technology maker right here. This is coming from a virologist. He's saying that the pharmaceutical industry has a stranglehold on our government and our political officials, and that he can't find another reason as to why they're pushing this like they are. You know, and I guess this is one of the big reasons why a lot of people are giving him flack and a lot of people are coming out against him, is because he's telling the truth. You know, I mean, wow. So there we go. That's 19 minutes and 12 seconds right there. There we have it, folks. That's going to be the first part of this live, as far as not the live, but as far as this section of the live. Next, we're going to go ahead and jump to 36 minutes and 2 seconds here, because this is where he jumps into some more stuff here that I really want you guys to listen to. And again, we can kind of take this from 36 minutes, 2 seconds to all the way to 55. I'll stop it, you know, interject when I feel it's appropriate. Hopefully you guys are into this. If you're not, again, you can watch the whole, and I strongly suggest you watch the whole interview on Jimmy Dore's channel. It's not hard to find. Let's see here. All right, here we go. 36:02. We're gonna start from here, and let's hit it. So far, I was blown away the first time I saw this yesterday, and even watching it again, I'm blown away. Like wow. This is coming from him though. This is not Jimmy Dore just saying it. This is not, you know, Joe Rogan. This isn't LB the Realist. This is a doctor, the creator of the mRNA vaccine. Come on, man. All right, give me a minute. Buffering. I know, my fault. I'm working. It warm for whatever bad. A super chat is gonna kill you. It's gonna be bad for you. That's why I go.
Infected is infinitesimal. It's teeny tiny.
0.0. This is, quite frankly, a pandemic of little too old to handle the kind of viruses, especially if they have an underlying condition. This is what he's saying. Of cases are going to be like that. So here we go.
Okay. And for most of us, that's the case. Our probability of death by fear porn.
Wow.
That maybe serves the interests of the pharmaceutical industry and everything else.
Are we still not on? It's on end. Is it not working in buffering? What am I doing? What's going on? Somebody let me know. It's still buffering? Oh my goodness.